Hi, welcome back to our channel. If you are new here, I'm Katie.
And I'm Steph.
And this is Theo, napping in the corner. We are a married lesbian couple from Vancouver, Canada, and we're the creators of Lez See the World. So for today's video, we wanted to talk all about what we do for a living and how we make money because we get a lot of questions about that. We have actually both always been self-employed and we are currently full-time entrepreneurs.
To kick things off, we're going to talk a little bit of our personal career backgrounds. So in university, I did a combined major of philosophy, cultural anthropology, and film. I always had an interest in documentary filmmaking and definitely focused on that in college. But I was also a Division I athlete in ice hockey and lacrosse. So a lot of my post-collegiate work experience was actually in coaching and strength and conditioning. Right out of college, I worked as a strength and conditioning coach at a high-performance athletic center. So I worked with athletes who were training for the Olympics in figure skating and Paralympics in wheelchair basketball and things like that. It was really, really cool. At the same time, I was playing professional ice hockey, so my plate was pretty full with sports.
So that would have been before we met. So when I met you, you had actually just come back from traveling and weren't working.
Right, so I took some time off to go traveling. I went to South America. When I returned, I definitely felt like I wanted to get back into film and photography. So I was still training and coaching, but something I got involved with is creating highlight videos and highlight reels for athletes looking to go to university on athletic scholarships. So that kind of opened the door for me to get into the world of sports videography and then later sports photography. So that was around the time that I met Katie, and then soon after we met, we moved to Toronto, mostly for Katie's career, but it actually ended up being really great for mine as well. I started coaching 2 different teams. I was the head coach of a girls' high school team, and I was also the assistant coach of the CWHL team, the Brampton Thunder. So that really gave me the opportunity to continue coaching at a high level. The CWHL had Olympic athletes on that team, so that was great. I also became their video coach. So I was breaking down all the game tape and using that as a coaching tool as well as a way to form our strategy. So I absolutely love coaching hockey and coaching lacrosse, and it's something that I'm so glad I got to do at such a high level. That being said, one of my goals has always been to be location independent, and unfortunately as a coach, you just can't do that. So it had always been a goal to travel full time and work completely for myself.
So I actually went to a fine arts school and I grew up as a dancer. So I started working as a teenager as a professional performer, and I was dancing professionally in stage shows and film and television and events, and I was also teaching dance in my spare time, which is actually how Steph and I met. So when we were living in Vancouver, that's what I was doing. I was freelancing for myself as a performer, and that's also what got me into modeling. Dance and modeling really went together so well, and I love everything about it, especially being on set, and I feel like I've learned so much about the behind the scenes, about lighting and everything that goes into a photo shoot. I also got really interested in makeup, and I actually did some makeup courses so that I could do professional makeup on myself. So that was such a great point in my career, but I did kind of eventually feel like I had outgrown Vancouver and I really wanted to see what else I could do with my career as a performer, knowing that it is kind of a limited time. So I convinced Steph to move to Toronto, and she was very willing to do so, which was great because I just knew that a bigger city would provide a lot more opportunity and there would be a lot more room for me to grow, and that was definitely the truth. There really was. So we lived in Toronto for 2 years, and I kept dancing and performing and also really focusing on my career as a model. And I did so much work when we lived there. I worked with so many amazing people on a lot of great projects, a lot of commercial projects, a lot of creative projects, and I just have so much work from that time that I'm really, really proud of. So I really did enjoy living in Toronto and just kind of the grind of working there. But I also, just like Steph, I really had the goal and the dream of wanting to travel more. And I did see modeling as something that I could do in moving around because I had built a good reputation for myself, and that was something that I could kind of tie into our travels. So that was definitely a goal of ours at that time. When we were living in Toronto was also when we got engaged, and so we were planning our wedding. And while we did have this dream of going off and traveling, we knew that it was going to take some time to really work toward that. So after I think 2 years of living in Toronto, I got a full-time dance contract that actually took us to Niagara Falls. So I was doing that, and I was also still modeling on the side, and that was also when we were planning our wedding. That really was the last time that we were living and working in one spot before we did eventually meet our goal of becoming fully location independent.
Back in Vancouver, I owned a property that we rented out when we moved to Toronto, which was great because it was a little bit of extra income for us. Owning property and doing rental properties was always something that I had been interested in, and we've always kind of dabbled in that. So when we moved to Niagara Falls, we bought a house with the intention of converting the basement suite to a short-term rental unit.
Yeah, when we moved, I had to relocate for my job, and we looked at rentals in the area, and there wasn't really anything that appealed to us, and it was a great time to get into the market there, and so we were lucky enough to be able to do so. We knew we weren't going to live there forever, but we saw it as a great investment opportunity. We knew that that house would be something that we'd be able to rent out when we did want to start traveling, which is exactly what we did about a year later. So after our wedding, we worked for about another 3 months in Niagara Falls. I was working my show contract, which was up and I could leave at any time. And Steph was mostly doing sports photography. And we were really looking at a way to have some contacts that we could continue on the go and have be a little bit location independent. I also knew that I could do some modeling while we moved around. And then we were hoping that with some rental income from renting our property, that would be enough to kind of help us take the plunge into like full entrepreneurship.
That first year of traveling, Katie was modeling in all the destinations that we were going to, and I was working remotely because I had a couple contracts from Vancouver that I could do from anywhere, which were great. So that mostly consisted of video editing.
It definitely was scary to kind of take the leap, but we're so glad that we did, and we managed to figure it out. We had some rental income, we had lots of different freelance jobs on the go, and that first year is also when the idea for Lez See the World was kind of born.
Yeah.
As we really got into travel, we had the idea to build a business around it, and especially around lesbian travel specifically, because we really didn't see much representation online for it. We knew it would take years to grow a business that would actually be able to generate some income for us, but we knew that the earlier we started, the better. So we did start sharing our travels that first year on Instagram, and it took us probably another 2 years before we really started looking at it seriously as a business, but I'm so glad that we started it when we did and we started kind of putting the pieces together.
Yeah, it was really a good fit for both of us because we both have experience, in front of the camera and behind the camera in terms of content creation and creating campaigns. It was just a really natural fit.
Definitely. For those first 2 years, Lez See the World was really something that we kind of did on the side of our other freelance work. And then in about 2018, we really got serious about pouring more time and more money into building it as a business. That was when we started our blog. That was when we got more serious about our content on Instagram. I think we had dabbled in YouTube at that time, but weren't really focusing on it as much. But we really started to shape it as a business the way that it is now.
By that time, I had sold my property in Vancouver, and we really wanted to reinvest in another property in the city. So that's when we started looking, and we found our condo.
Which is actually where we're living now. This place we bought at the beginning of 2019, and we never intended it to be somewhere that we would live full time. We still really wanted to travel and be location independent, but we liked the idea of having a property here working for us while we were gone, and then also somewhere where we could stay when we were in the city. And it worked out really well because now we are living here full time, but we'll get to that. This property is a 1-bedroom condo, and then we also have the house in Niagara Falls, which is a full house with a separate basement suite, so we actually rent out both units in that house. So Steph does all of our property management, so managing all 3 units in the 2 properties. That has probably been our steadiest income stream over the past few years, and is definitely the main reason why we've been able to take the time to really put into growing our business.
Obviously, we had some big plans to travel in 2020 that were put on hold.
Yes, everything was put on hold in 2020. I stopped modeling, and basically all of my work came to a halt in 2020. The previous year, I had actually started doing more education in the modeling world. I had written an ebook for photographers about working with models. I was doing some speaking engagements and workshops with photographers, but obviously none of that was able to happen, and I wasn't shooting at all either. So I was able to put all of my energy this past year into Lez See the World, which I'm so grateful for, which has been really good for us. And then Steph has still been managing our properties, and luckily she has also had some freelance work as well.
Even though a lot of our business has taken a hit in the last year, we do feel extremely lucky to still have some reliable income sources.
Yeah. 2020 was definitely a year where we had to really change and adapt our plan along with everyone else, because our business was always centered around travel, and travel became something that we could no longer do. So we shifted more into lifestyle content, which is still what we're focusing on now because we're still not traveling. And it did really force us to be creative and to really look at our brand and figure out our goals. And in a way, I'm grateful because it did push us to do a lot of things that we might not have otherwise done. 2021 definitely feels a lot better. I feel like we've made some great strides with our business. I'm so grateful I've been able to put so much time and energy into it like I have, and I feel like it's going to be a much better year for us this year than last year. I think in the first 3 months of 2021, we are going to generate more income than we did with Lez See the World in all of 2020, so that's definitely something to be happy about.
And we're living in our condo full-time in Vancouver, but we are still able to generate rental income at our Niagara Falls house, which is great.
Yes. Real estate investing and property management has been such an important thread through our story. So if you do have any questions about it, or you want a full video about investing in real estate or managing property, short-term rentals, Airbnb, anything like that, that's definitely something we could do.
Absolutely. The same goes for how we generate income with Lez See the World and content creation in general. So if you have questions about that, that's definitely another video that we can do.
For sure. There are so many ways that online creators actually make income, and most of them have various income streams, which we do as well. And that can be passive income streams through ad revenue or affiliate marketing or working directly with brands on campaigns. There's so many different ways to go about it. So that's a whole video we could make, absolutely, if you have questions.
Hopefully this gives you a little bit of an idea as to what it means to be self-employed. We've always had various income streams, and it's something that's been so important for us, especially during this pandemic.
We hope you really enjoyed this video. We could talk about this all day, about business and entrepreneurship, and I love it so much. So if you have questions, we're happy to do more videos like this one.
Yeah. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe for more content. We put out a new video every Friday.
Yes, so we'll see you next week.